This is where I live now, Winstrup.
6 months ago, I wasn't here. Not in this house, not in this life. I was somewhere between what had been and what could be. After selling my previous home, a 200-year-old farmhouse I'd spent 2 years renovating, I was ready to begin again. I just didn't know where. I dreamt of something simple, quiet, a place a little further out with room to grow things, room to build, and a roof I didn't have to replace, ideally. I imagined chickens in the yard, a greenhouse, a dog, always a dog. So I started looking. Not for perfection, but for possibility. I walked through forests, across fields of Christmas trees, into homes with charm and houses with, well, questionable rugs. I imagined winter mornings in sunrooms, spring days planting raised beds. I imagined selling ornaments at a Christmas market in my own courtyard. For a moment, I almost bought a house with a pig farm next door. Each place taught me something about what I needed and what I could let go of. But none of them quite fit. Until this one. A 1939 house tucked quietly into the landscape. Not flashy, not large, but something about it felt still, rooted, like a place I could shape with my hands and heart. It needed work, yes, but not too much. Just enough to make it mine. And this is where this story begins. Not in a dramatic reveal, but in a slow unfolding. A roof replaced, a garden cleared, a hallway reimagined, and a greenhouse built from secondhand glass and stubborn hope. This is a look back at everything I've done the last 6 months. What I've learned, what I've built, and what I'm still figuring out. Because this house didn't need to be perfect. It just needed to be possible. And I was ready. One thing was missing though. 2 weeks after I bought the house, I brought home this guy, Alvar, a small, curious pup with big ears and even bigger opinions. It probably wasn't the smartest timing. New house, new routines, no real system in place, but what lacked in coordination, he made up in loyalty. He's been with me through every project since, from sunrise coffee runs to afternoon cleanups. He's right there, sometimes helping, often supervising, always nearby. Alvar isn't just my companion, he's the soul of this place now. My shadow, my project manager, my best friend. Before anything else, before painting or planting or even unpacking, a roof had to be dealt with. The garage and workshop were covered in brittle, leaking material, tired from too many winters. It wasn't glamorous work. It didn't make for beautiful photos, but it was the kind of job that tells the house you're safe now. It was the first time I felt this place start to breathe again. The whole point is to gently take it down. You don't want the place to break. Inside, the bathroom needed attention. Luckily not structural, but just cosmetic. The layout was a little off and I wanted to make more space for a nice shower, which meant a new smaller sink. It made room for a glass wall and new overhead shower. I chose everything with intention. Soft colors, simple lines, function, yes, but also comfort. Because sometimes the smallest rooms carry the biggest shifts in how a home feels. One of the first things I knew I wanted was a greenhouse. Not just to grow things, but to anchor the garden, to feel like it had always been here. I found it secondhand on Marketplace. Some mismatched glass, a few pieces missing, but that didn't matter. Like most things here, it just needed some care. Instead of placing it straight on the ground, I built a raised base and added a wooden front. It gives it weight, a sense of presence. Over time, the wood will gray and it'll look like it's grown into place. It's a simple space, but one that's quickly become part of my routine. A place for planting, pausing, and watching things take root. The hallway was next, covered in vinyl, overlooked and just waiting to be remembered. I peeled it back and found old wood underneath. Damaged, yes, but not beyond saving. The hole near the wall became the beginning of something new. A handmade patchwork floor inspired by the floor of Atsumi. Mercer Street white from Bleo on the walls. A calm, chalky beige that catches the light in just the right way. It's funny how one small space can shape the whole feeling of a home. Outside the garden started with a single pair of gloves and a long list of maybe someday. It was wild, overgrown, tangled, unruly. And right in the middle of it all, a blackberry bush the size of a small 2-story building. It looked innocent enough, but that thing caught me more times than I can count. Honestly, it nearly took me out. Still, inch by inch, I cleared it. Cut down old trees to let in the light. Build raised beds from scratch. Hauled stones from the neighbor's fields to frame a future flower bed. Some of it was about growing food, but more than that. It was about growing a life here. One that felt rooted, slow, intentional. Greenify helped me bring structure to the planting. 2 perennial beds, one in gray-blue tones, another tucked into shade by the sunroom. Planted for beauty, yes, but also for the bees, for the butterflies, for the kind of garden that hums quietly with life. The soil came from shampoos, rich, dark, and full of promise. I knew I wanted to start strong. Healthy soil makes everything else possible. The balcony of the bedroom was never more than a place to dry a bit of laundry. But I kept looking out at the view and thinking this could be something. So I fixed the floor, placed some self-watering pots from Greenify, and added a simple couch and table. Now it's one of the most beautiful places in the house, a little sky room, where the fields and lake stretch out like a painting, a place where we are completely private. Some projects were small but satisfying. The gate got new wood and a coat of black paint. The table was built from raw timber designed for long dinners and short breaks. Even the fire pit took shape with leftover bricks and a little patience. Nothing extravagant, but each one adds to the story. Water matters, especially when you're growing things. I built a base for a large wooden tub and connected it to the workshop roof. When the rain falls now, it fills that barrel, ready for dry weeks ahead. A small gesture to its self-sufficiency, but like most of this work, small gestures tend to grow. I've tried not to reach for harsh chemicals. Instead, I made my own cleaner, just vinegar, lemon peels, and a little soap. It worked wonders. I scrubbed away years of mold and grime from the garage and fence, then gave everything a fresh coat of paint. Alvar supervised, of course, from a safe distance. It's amazing what strings you one week and feeds your plants the next. But with a little intention and a bucket, they've become a secret weapon. I started a batch of needle fertilizer, just chopped leaves, water, thyme, and a lid. Always a lid. Because in a few days, it starts to smell like something you'd rather not describe. Still, It's incredibly effective, full of nitrogen and minerals, a tonic for the garden made from nothing but weeds and patience. Tuck it somewhere shady where no one will complain, and in a few weeks, you've got garden gold. It's not glamorous, but it works. Unlike most good ideas, it started with something a little wild. I'm always up for a challenge, especially the kind that starts with, I can probably fix that. Because this window is in really, really bad shape. It's literally falling apart. So, obviously the easy thing would be to buy a new window. This window was falling apart, literally. The wood was crumbling in places, the glazing long gone, but I liked the shape of it. The bones were still there, just barely. So I set out to restore it, sanded it down, scraped away the old paint, and tried to piece it back together. It wasn't long before I realized I might be in over my head. There's a difference between vintage and unsalvable, and this was one leaning heavily towards the latter. In the end, I saved what I could, ordered a new piece of glass, and took the rest to recycling. Not everything has to be rescued. Sometimes knowing what to let go of is its own kind of success. And with that done, I gave the entire workshop a fresh coat of white paint, covered the old wear, brightening the whole facade. Not everything I try go to plan, but every project, finished or not, teaches me something. Sometimes what you build isn't the window. Sometimes it's just a better way of seeing what comes next. 6 months and 15 episodes in, and this house is no longer just a structure. It's becoming something real, layer by layer, day by day, built with care and shaped by hands that are learning as they go. The rooms still echo with what's left to do, but now they also hold the comfort of what's already been done. There's still so much ahead. In the garden, I'll keep tending. The flowers I planted are just starting to bloom, and I can't wait to finally enjoy them. This time, not just as plants on paper, but as color and scent and life. Soon I'll harvest the first piece, lettuce and tomatoes, many of them grown from seeds sent by you from across the world. It still amazes me. What began as a quiet garden project now holds your stories too. Inside, the next big chapter begins with the kitchen. I'll take the old one out completely, sand the floors, paint the walls, and make space for a new old kitchen I found secondhand on Marketplace. It's going to take time, but I have a feeling it will be worth it. And then upstairs, the entire first floor will need attention. Fresh paint, new light, a guest room that, if I'm honest, isn't exactly ready for guests just yet. But we'll get there. One quiet project at a time.
So thank you for coming along for these first 6 months, for watching, commenting, even sending seeds, cheering from across oceans. If you like to support this slow renovation and all the projects still to come, Alvar and I are on Buy Me a Coffee, a small way to help keep the work going. But honestly, just being here is already a gift, and thank you to everyone who's been here all the way, and thank you if you're just tuning in. So here's to what's been built and everything that's still to grow. We're just getting started.